YouTube. Okay, I'm going to wait until see if any more people come on. So I did a live stream with StreamYard. And hey, Colas, how come I only show 0 when you on? Anyway, give me the thumbs up. Now I see it. Yeah, it's been a long time, Colas. Trust and believe. I don't know why. I told y'all when tax season started, I was going to be extremely busy and I wasn't going to be able to come on here. And that's what happened. Well, how's your mom doing anyways? Hopefully that went well. I was thinking about you. Trust me. I said, I wonder how Colas is doing with his mom. So I was thinking about y'all. So she has one more chemo and she's done tomorrow. So well, I hope it will go well. I'll come on tomorrow night and then you can tell me how it went. But I'll pray for her. Hey, 2 people. All right, y'all. Yes. We will all pray for her. She'll be fine. But I'm glad you're doing okay. Yeah, it's been so crazy. That's why I said I was going to come and talk about it. And then of course, Colas, I did go back to work at Amazon with the same 3-day schedule and the same time, 6 p.m. to 6:30 with Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays with the reasonable accommodation they gave me, which basically is I don't work in the same department where I'm walking up stairs and ladders, but I work in the department where basically what it is that the packages come off the truck and then I do you open up these packages and boxes and you just put them up in these different crates that goes upstairs. So basically that was the accommodation they gave me. Plus every 2 hours they said I could sit down. I could have a chair next to the station and sit down when I'm feeling pain and whatever. So that's what they gave me. So I did stay with Amazon. I didn't quit. And then of course, they gave me my 60% back pay from November when I told y'all when I first took medical leave right after Thanksgiving. And they gave me back 60% of the pay. And they paid me was what? Let me see. January, February, March. Somewhere about the early part of March. That's when they said, oh, they approved it. There's accommodation and you can come back to work. So I've been working since let me see. How long has it been? They don't have that position. Trust me. You just can't say, oh, apply for this, It's not as easy to apply for. Besides, certain facilities they don't even have that, and it's not as that ain't as easy as you think it is. So I'm not even trying to apply for a loss prevention or whatever. They don't even have that position. That's something. Certain positions you have to come in whatever, regular associate, inbound or outbound or whatever, and then after you there for a while, then they could actually be a problem solve. They actually be a problem solve or whatever, and it's still walking around. So I'm not really trying to try to apply within these positions within Amazon for certain departments because that's not something to do. But anyway, So they paid me back my 60% pay. And you know, I was VTO queen. I was like, if they had VTO, I was like, you ain't gotta ask me. I'm gonna take it. Man, let me tell you. Now Saturday, this past weekend, Saturday they were closed because they had to do cleaning or whatever. And they had to shut the facility down to do whatever things they needed to do. So this weekend was really the first weekend I was free to just relax. And then of course TurboTax, their season ended already. Tax season was over, you know. And then this past week, um, you could only work a maximum of 4 hours a day or 20 hours a week. And then next week, one of these days, Wednesday, Thursday, or something, I had to pack up the laptop and then ship it back or whatever. But the good thing about it is, one, I made my bonus, and I was also in the tier of the one category, meaning I was in the top position. So I had got my extra 25% bonus, and that was an extra $500. So I have got my full bonus. This year it was $2,000. So I had $2,500 bonus, which is extra for succeeding beyond. That was the one with the surveys and all that kind of stuff. So this year, I had I kept the same manager. Like they didn't break up the teams. So I was fussing with her last year about I said I was in the chat and phone calls. Chat and phone calls most of the time. Mostly was chat, and I said people ain't gonna take no surveys in the chat. It's too. But turned around it was um I still exceeded. But let me tell you, this past tax season, they were extreme. They didn't have enough people, even from the get go. They had to hire. They were still shorthanded. They went to these third party companies in order to hire people to take calls. They had this new position they created with the welcome screener. People call in, and then you had to take information down, tell them to download documents to go to full service, and they'd be assigned to a tax expert or full service. People had documents they had to submit, so they created that position, but they still were short. They were so short. Let me tell you, they were so short that they was giving out spotlight rewards, which was those gift cards. Man, I had over $2,000 worth of gift cards this year, and they still owe me for working Easter Sunday $500 gift card. I said, wait a minute, they didn't give me all of my gift cards because somehow I was trying to edit the day, and then they turned around. I took the thing from. I said I've been worked the 8 hours they wanted me to work, so somehow or another I was trying to edit the schedule because I was supposed to trying to work 12 hours on the weekends, and this day, that first week, I did not do the spotlight rewards. I was so tired from Amazon. I said, shoot, I only had worked like 8 hours on the weekend 2 weeks ago. I said, I said, how much gift cards can I get? So I literally have over 2,000 something things of gift cards. And I still didn't redeem all of them this year. And I didn't even use all of them from last year. So um, you can use it by Amazon. I said, I'm sick and tired of getting stuff from Amazon. I'm like, when you work with Amazon, and a lot of those stuff is cheap looking stuff, and people say, well, you get this. No, let me tell you, I was better off getting gift cards for different food, like Panera. I love Panera. I bought so many gift cards to go to Panera that I've been going to Panera for the last 3 weeks, and I said, shoot, I don't feel like going for dinner or whatever. So yesterday I didn't go to Panera this time. I went to Outback Steakhouse. I said, let me buy me a Outback Steakhouse. I thought I bought an Outback Steakhouse gift card last year that I didn't use. And I said, wait a minute, that was another steakhouse. So I was like, dang it. So, but I'm not trying to spend all the money on food. So I was looking at the Carnival Cruise Line, and I'm gonna use about 500 or maybe I'm gonna buy a gift card for $1,000 that I have, and I'm gonna either look into going on a cruise. But I'm gonna call Carnival and make sure. I said, can I use this to buy my vacation package on the Carnival Cruise Line? Then they had some other vacation packages deals at like hotels, various hotels, nationwide and Caribbean and stuff. So I said, shoot, I could plan my trip to one of those. So I'm gonna let y'all know. But I'm gonna see if they're gonna take if I could pay for a cruise outright with gift cards. And you know what? The gift cards was simply with Intuit TurboTax. It don't even count the other things I've been doing throughout the year um with the other things I was doing with um not coin out, Pogo and Receipt Hog and all these all these things I've been collecting points on and stuff just for swiping, or it was a whole bunch of stuff. So I say I have a whole bunch of people say, "Hey, you never have enough gift cards." Trust me, if I budget myself right, money wise, I could actually probably buy my incidentals with gift cards. You know, but I'm not gonna spend all of my gift cards eating out. That's for sure. I'm gonna do a couple of ones for like $25, 10 here, but the majority of those gift cards I'm gonna use for travel. I just need to decide which one I want to go to, and then I'm so mad at Southwest Airline. I shouldn't be mad at them, but remember I told y'all last summer around June I went to my nephew's wedding, and I had they gave I said I'll give him my seat. I'll take the next flight. They gave me a $500 voucher. God damn it! I took a picture of that voucher, kept it in the phone. I can't find the physical paper where the vouchers where I put it. I looked all over this room in things for that voucher. I lost the voucher, y'all. I lost, so I had to call customer service, send them an email. They gave me $150 love voucher. I said, where's the other $350? Because that's what y'all promised me. So I sent an email today. I said, I want my $350, more of my voucher, and then I'm gonna use the airline ticket and these gift cards and go on a vacation. I would have gone on vacation this summer if I wasn't working at Amazon. But if Amazon gets on my nerves real bad, and I say, you know what, I can't take it. Let me just um, wait to come back with TurboTax at the end of the year. Now, because I was in the top 1% group, they asked me if they needed me to come back, say August or earlier than December. But I'd be interested because I came back. I'm in the top group now. So I said, yeah, I'll come back August if they want people to come back. But this tax season, y'all, oh, let me tell you, it was busy. So anybody, I'm gonna say this one more time. Anybody interested in working at TurboTax next year, you don't have to know taxes and be an accountant or CPA. You could be like a tax associate. Technically, I'm still a tax associate, even though I wanted to do full service and things like that, where I could just do the returns and not be on the phone or chat talking. But they're gonna be looking for people, and if I get a referral, I do get $1,000 gift card. Spotlight rewards. So anybody interested working next year, please send me an email. Let me put my email in here. Please, 60gmail.com. You don't have to be like I said, you don't have to know things with taxes, but this is a position that they created. It was another position where people call in and you just take the information down and collect their documents so someone at TurboTax could do the return, and then you just route it to an associate like myself or somebody if they want their return be done from start to finish. But you're not on the phone. But Um, to be honest, some of the co-workers on the team, they were new. Shoo, they act like they didn't know squat from nothing. I was like, I'm not saying you have to be an expert and stuff, because that's something you learn. But some people were like, they took the EA exam. And this one, I ain't talking about no coworkers. I never told them I'm on YouTube, because shoot, they may hear me talk about them. But anyway, I was like, how did you pass the exam? And the questions, they was like, I don't understand. It was the basic things they didn't understand. They was just dumb. I was like, some people could be book knowledge. They just study for the test just to pass the test. But then when it's time to apply that knowledge, they don't have a clue. And everything is it's not that hard, to be honest. Even if someone call in, they have a question about something, all you gotta do is Google it or look it up, or somebody in the support room. I need help. Can you help me with this? And that's it. But the good thing with working at TurboTax is you make your own schedule. You can work as many hours as you want. Um, they send you the equipment, so you don't have to worry about, I need to get the equipment. And they pay pretty good. When my first year, I was, depending on where you live and stuff, or whatever role they tell you about, they'll pay at least $19. At least. Now I make more than that, but anybody's interested, send me an email. Because they will be recruiting for next year, because they were short by thousands and thousands and thousands of positions. They needed people real bad. They were begging people. That's how. And I don't know how much. You know, when the end result come in terms of the gift cards thing. Let me look and see what I had. I could sign on. And yeah, it was pretty good. I could tell you. And even if you don't get the full bonus, because sometimes, um, like last year, my first year, I still got over. I still got 17. Well, the bonus was not the same last year. It was much higher this year. But I still got a bonus, because there's three phases of it. One, when they first hire you, you have like a week to complete these modules and training. Then the second phase is starting the peak. They have a peak. Then the third one is the third peak season at the end. Now you do have to work at least 35 hours a week. And then the other part of the bonus numbers comes from the surveys. People say, you think a survey, and that one is if you get them. But they always discuss it every year. So if you're interested, please send me an email. I know last year I told y'all about it, and I did get an email from one person, but by the time they inquired about it, it was already in the tax season. So hopefully anyone's interested, y'all can send me an email. When you send me the email, I have a referral link. So you have to you do have to send me your information, and then we'll go from there. Please do it this week, because I have to turn in the computer and the laptop. So I still have to log on and see what the referral link was. And you just have to have basic knowledge, really. And it ain't that hard. But anyway, let me go on to the topic of today, of tonight. Let me send a referral link. Anybody wants to come on, and you could share with me. So let me tell you, oh Lord, even though I have not been on here during the tax season, throughout the year, let me tell you what my duties were this tax year. I was the subject matter expert dealing with small business. Right up my ladder. I would get the calls, all the chats. Hey, these nuts. Anyway, I would get the calls or chats for people who were basically doing the gig work. I got so many people. I took about 700 something calls. I must have spoke to about over 600 people about being a door dasher and the Schedule C. And I spoke to a lot of people. I spoke to all different, it was all a bunch of different issues, but the majority of my calls that were coming through, because I was the designated person to spoke about how to, they're gig workers, Schedule C. And in evaluating and talking to these people, I was so amazed as to how many people did not keep track of nothing. Nothing. They were so focused on just filing a tax return. They didn't, first of all, they were doing it all wrong. I said, no, don't do this, don't do that. Do this. And they didn't keep track of records. I've sent so many links and references and referrals from the IRS.gov website for small business, 1099. I spoke so much about the 1099 NEC. I spoke to so many people who were, the first thing is that they did was, they ran up there paying other people and applying for an LLC because of what they heard on the internet. Not even internet, on YouTube. And I said, okay, starting an LLC does not mean you are a person in business. You don't need to file an LLC. That's not the focus. I know who did it. Trust me, it ain't just one person. There's several so-called people. They have these YouTube channels. They're not tax experts. They're not financial, nothing. No credentials at all. They just a YouTuber who do food deliveries or whatever. And every time they want to talk about, for gig tax, this is what you need to do. You don't need to run out as a sole proprietor, individual, one person. You don't need to be running at the Secretary of State website or pay a company to be an LLC. So when I was talking to all these people, it was giving me a headache after a while. I said, are you an independent contractor where you receive the 1099 NEC? Or are you self-employed? Hey, Lady TH. Or are you self-employed and you started your own business? And what type of business is it? So I learned so much in what people were doing. I started LLC, and I was told you don't get no big tax write-offs. You don't get these big, there's no advantage because you just have an LLC. And then when I look at it, I say, okay, what's this company here that you put on this, you filling out this TurboTax? Oh, I was an Uber driver, Grubhub, DoorDash, whatever. I said, no, that's not how you fill it out. Please delete that. I was giving so many instructions. No, remove that, delete this. Go ahead, and because I don't do the returns from start to finish, but I felt like I was doing it from start to finish. I said, go on this tab and directing them. This is where you put the 1099 NEC, and then you want to go in order. And how much money did you make before you do any expenses? Now, some people, if you was an Uber and Lyft, if you went to Uber and Lyft directly, they had this promotion, or this way you could link actually to the Uber app, and they'll connect to the TurboTax, and all your information that TurboTax is linked to the Uber or Lyft account. It will automatically download all the information, but it does not include the dead miles. It would just basically, it didn't really give expense. So I said, well, how do you keep track? They never keep track of the miles. They didn't keep track of expenses. They didn't, people owed money, and before anything else, I looked before they even went to the standard deductions and stuff. They owed money. A lot of people had owed money, and I told y'all this. I told y'all this before tax season started, that all these changes and all this things coming up, a lot of people is not going to get it's not going to get a huge refund as they thought they was going to get. And the ones who did get these large refunds, I'll explain how that came about. So I said, well, how did you keep track throughout the year? They just, people just guessing. This. I said, don't. And then one person, they were trying to round up. I said, that's too rounded up. The system's already gonna catch that these are guesses. These are not actual expenses. Just making up stuff. So I said, you know what? Are you going to continue to do these gig work this year in 2022? I said, we were only January, February, March. We were 3 months in already. And I said, what you need to do, you could either go on an app called Stride, and keep track of your miles, or keep a little book in your car and write down your dates. When you travel, each day when you go out and about, you just put it in a little notebook and just write it down on a tablet or do paper and pen. And with that, every time you go out and about eating during your drives, doing DoorDash or Grubhub, and you spend money on food, keep track of the expense, the actual expense, and mileage. And then you have to pay estimated tax payments quarterly. Now, y'all know I wrote this article on my WordPress about 4 or 5 years ago. I wrote articles on it. I wrote my opinion. I even did that as on a team meeting. We would discuss certain topics. So I said, I would do estimated taxes. I did a presentation within the team about estimated taxes. And I broke it down and I had little slides. I hope my manager, I told her to can she record it so I could have it for my portfolio. I'm going to see if I can get that the Zoom recording. And then I'm going to play it back one day. Because I said, I feel people need to play it. I need to play it and show it people physical on presentation. So I'm going to discuss that again. Because at the end, when it was all said and done, a lot of people that I spoke with on the phone, they had owed taxes. I said, there's a penalty you're going to pay because you didn't file or pay the adequate estimated tax penalty. Especially the ones who were doing it full time. They didn't have no other W-2 and anything else. I was even a guest on a certain person's channel about a couple months ago. He's been on here and he had me, this other white lady, and some other guy about he writes a blog and blah, blah, blah. And he was a little bit sarcastic. He thought that I had, we ended the session. I was on a live on his channel. And for some reason, we just seemed to got stuck on that topic about owing. But his whole thing was, well, all these years that I've been doing it, I ain't never owed no taxes. I ain't never, he talking about himself. I said, that's not the norm. Just because, and even after I proved the fact about, even if you get a refund and you're a 1099 NEC or self-employed, just because you get a refund, if you're not paying enough tax and you're not paying, it's a penalty. I even broke it down. Now some people may not notice it because they just see, I get a refund. But then if you look real close on your return and somebody explains it, there's a penalty that you've been charged. But, and it says that right there in the IRS code. Even if you're getting a refund, if you don't pay adequate estimated taxes, you're still going to be assessed a penalty. And you got to pay that penalty and you got to file that estimated taxes until you do so, and it will keep accruing even if you get a refund. Now the thing about TurboTax is that it calculates that for you, but most people don't really look through their return. They just see refund or why they owe, and that's it. But I explained that penalty of estimated tax penalty, the whole 9 yards. Now, some people was not that bad, but the ones who had owed large sums of money and they didn't pay enough tax, it's more evident. But when you see small little things, people, they're not going to really notice a penalty that's $20, 15, 20, 30, 20, 30, $40 or 100, because it's all washed out when they get a refund. They just get a refund, they go with it. But you know that every time, every quarter, like I tell people, all right, now, April 18th, last Monday, your first payment is due. And I tell people that. And I even send them resources and links. But anywho, it was just so many people, they just so unprepared and so just don't have nothing, records done. Nothing. No kind of system, no kind of organization. I said as much as I could help you and tell you what you could expense and say, okay, the system's going to do it for you. These, gig workers, your phone, maintenance on your car or mileage. Don't let somebody here that just says, oh, you can just write off everything. Oh, you can just start a business. You can start a business. Just start an LLC. Don't run to Secretary of State and apply for an LLC and you only one person. There's certain industries you have to be in or work in that may require certain state regulations. There are certain state regulations that you have to follow based on your state. Not every state is the same. So don't run out here, you get an LLC. Okay, what are you doing? What is your kind of business? Well, I just do Uber. And you don't need no LLC. You're an Uber driver. You're just an independent contractor, 1099 NEC. You don't need to form an LLC. That is not necessary. Number two, I'm gonna start a t-shirt business. That's another business I've seen people doing. Even my own sister. I'm gonna do a t-shirt business, and I'm gonna get she live in Texas, and even I offered to do her taxes. I wasn't gonna charge her, saying, "Well, I got someone who would do." I said, "Okay, fine. Go ahead and do whoever. My mother too. Go whoever you use. That's your choice. That'll be less headache for me because I'm not gonna handle close relationships of family members, sister, mother, y'all had whoever y'all had for years, go ahead and work with them. I didn't ask them, I didn't tell them I'm going to charge you anything. I said, do you need me to do your tax? Nah, yeah, they're fine. Less problems for me. I got too many things on my plate anyway. But I could tell you one thing, when shit hit the fan or when something happens, because the IRS, they may not go after you right away. They have a statute of limitation of 10 years. So a lot of people who got these PPP loans and got all this, made all this money and they not following and they not compliant, just because they don't say nothing immediate, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. That's why I said, you know what? I'm going to focus my business on compliance. Yeah, I could do these little returns here and there. I said, okay, I'll do your return. Here you go. But my business is going to be focusing on compliance because let me tell you, this tax year with so many people getting $13,000 of refunds, I'm looking over like, what the hell? And they got all these credits, and they got that advanced child tax credit, and people had gotten money for 4 months, and then this year come switching kids. One year you claiming the kids, next year someone else claiming another set of kids, and people filing roommates and friends as dependents, and even though it is sketchy, it is some sketchy things going on. But just because you able to file, go through everything, let me tell you, the only reason why the IRS has not caught on is because they are short. They are shortage of people to work at the IRS. The IRS was even hiring They need to hire thousands and thousands of people. They can't find nobody to work there. They can't find no one to work there because a lot of people, one, they got issues with them themselves, never been compliant. And because let me tell you, if you apply for the work at the IRS, trust and believe they do it's not just a background check, they also check your compliance of your taxes. So a lot of people don't want to apply for that because they know that they'll go back and check, and then they know they've been doing some stuff. I remember when I first started working there were people who went through the background check, they hired and everything, and about 2 months later they did extensive background check of their whole entire history, not because they had criminal issues, they had issues with the tax returns, and they got fired. It's like, you know. So a lot of people in this country, the United States, they probably can't even, if they even wanted to work at the IRS, they probably can't even apply. They owe child support. They owe, they in default. Not saying you late with your student loans and and you got a payment plan or whatever. It's like people got a whole bunch of issues, and they will come back and they will come back and haunt you. Some people can't even apply for a federal job because of past issues. But let me tell you, this tax year season, I said, shoo. There were people saying, "Oh, I wish you would do my taxes and stuff like that." I can't do that because if they came to TurboTax, I can't get them as clients. But I know one thing, based on the calls and all the calls and the chat I was doing this year, I'm gonna really buckle down and really do my business. I'm not doing no free tax advice on my YouTube channel. I'm not doing it. I've done enough. And people always looking for free. They want to go to the internet. They want to go to YouTube and go into how to do things. But number one, the typical person, you do not need to be running to do no LLC. And being an LLC has nothing to do with the tax preparer don't want to do their job, because they can only consult with you based on what you give them. You cannot go to a tax preparer, even if you went to H&R Block at Walmart. If you are an independent contractor, 1099, you don't have track of your records, and you don't have track of. I'm not talking about, well, do you have any? How did you keep track of these expenses? And then people saying, "Oh, I have receipts." No, they don't even have receipts. Oh, I pay with my bank card. And I said, that's not record keeping. I tell people, especially with I tell them, one, you need to have the date, the time, the purpose of what this was for. You have to be detailed in terms of documenting your expenses. Not, oh, it's on a credit card statement or it's on my bank. That's not record keeping. I use my debit card or credit card or whatever, but that's not say, here you go. You can't go with the IRA. Here you go. Here's my bank statement that shows it. No, that's just a transaction that you paid for when you use a credit card. That's not record keeping. So I tell people how to keep track of record keeping. Then I said, okay, if you want to track the miles, you got to differentiate between business, personal, miles. Do you have your log book? No. I said, okay, you need to have some type of app that keeps track of your miles, because even Stride keeps track of it. It's compliant, where as long as you turn that app on and you on business, and then at the end of the year it will differentiate between personal and business miles. But I said they didn't keep track of that. As a gig worker, especially if you do driving, food deliveries, whatever, you either track your expenses that's associated with doing the job that you're doing, but you can't write off everything. It's a certain limit. Another thing I came across that people were doing, and you could tell this was shady shit. I'll give you an example of a person I spoke with. One time I spoke with someone, they had owed $38,000 plus dollars. I was like, what the hell? I'm sitting here, I must have talked for him for about an hour and a half. First, this other black guy, he comes on there, my business partner, he think he know everything. You know, black folks, boy, y'all kill me. I want to know, he was so focused on him. He wasn't caring about the fact that he want to know if he was going to owe the $38,000. He came into some type of, I could tell it was a scam. I could tell. It was in Michigan, and they had some kind of healthcare services where you're supposed to bill the state of Michigan, like Medicare and health expense. And I said, what kind of business is it? Oh, we pick people up in healthcare, this and that. And had not a liquor license, not one lick of license. I knew for a fact, even though I don't know much about the healthcare and things like that, but certain industries, you have to be registered with the state of Michigan or registered with your state, especially when you're dealing with state money and getting contracts. He ain't did none of that. He got a hold. I said, well, how did you who advised you about, well, this person, he gave me a piece of paper and said, here you go, I can apply for LLC, and that's all I needed to do. First of all, you will start to do a partnership with other people. That's the wrong business entity that he needed to be in under anyway. Two, he wasn't set up properly. He wasn't set up properly. He said he operated the business from his bedroom, but it was too small, and therefore he went with this other guy that came on the phone the first time and used the office space in his house upstairs, and he hired 4, 5, 6 people working for him, and then he just said he just bought a whole bunch of equipment, computers and everything else. And I said, well, how much money did you make when you were doing all that? He made not like a dime, not a dime. He just incurred these expenses buying stuff, and it was all done incorrectly. I said, you need to speak to a tax attorney. Even though I'm not an attorney, I couldn't go beyond that. But I was telling him, based on what he was saying, was that he was trying to do he was just doing the whole thing wrong. He was trying to start some business, and basically he was trying to get that damn PPP loan. That's what it was. He got caught up, started some business, and figured that, because last year, right before 2019, 2020, people were starting LLCs, trying to get that PPP loan, and it was just all done wrong. It was all wrong, all across the board. I don't even know. People just doing a whole bunch. They were just doing too much, and then got caught up when you owe $38,000 plus dollars, and I was like, shoot. The only way I could try to help you reduce that tax is reduce this taxable income. When we get down to the other section of this, do you file a Schedule C? That's what we were working on. No matter how much I try to help him, I was like, dang, I don't know what to tell you, because he just, and one thing I started noticing, it was a lot of us's. Y'all know what I mean when I say us's. A whole lot of black folks that I was talking to, they got caught up. They got caught up, and they got caught up all because they try to go on YouTube and ran up there to do an LLC and ran up monies. They trying to be slick. I'm not saying black folks were the only ones who were being slick, but a lot of these business ventures that people got into, they didn't do it right. They didn't do it right. They didn't, one lady I spoke to, it was like a week ago, she was trying to do a nonprofit organization. I said, ma'am, what is this right here? I said, ma'am, you cannot establish yourself as a nonprofit organization and put it on your individual tax return. You need to file form, blah, blah, blah. She was trying to write off monies that she said she contributed to her nonprofit organization, and she was trying to follow with her personal tax return and follow with a Schedule C. I said, ma'am, that's illegal. I even pulled up, I said, who told? She said, well, the IRS told me. I said, yeah, that's correct what they said, but I pulled up the website. I said, what kind of nonprofit is it? Whatever she told me, I said, you need to follow the form, send her the link. This is the form that you need to file when you do a nonprofit. They were doing all things crazy, just crazy stuff. If you don't understand something, don't run to start a business for the sake of starting a business and doing things backwards. Hustling backwards. I heard that on JT, another YouTuber. He's a financial planner, certified financial planner. He had his own CPA firm. He had a much way bigger channel than me. I've been on his show live. He said, hey, Lady T. I watched him a couple of days ago, and he's changing his segment to Can You Afford This? And I think he's changing his platform about watching out for scammers on YouTube. And that's one of the things that I've learned this year. It's like a lot of people, the economy is focusing on being independent contractors or self-employed. There's nothing wrong with starting a business, but you have to be able to. Don't think that, I'm going to start a business and you owe no taxes. Let me tell you, a lot of people start businesses or independent contractor or whatever the case may be. You have to understand the tax implications, and you have to grow. I've given people so many ideas when I was talking to them. I even got some people's, I said, what kind of business is it? I said, okay, then I'll check out your channel. And I spoke to a lot of people who were YouTubers. They started doing YouTube channels and they made money on YouTube. I said, how much money did you make on doing that? And they tell me the amount. I said, okay, that's great. And they, and I said, as your YouTube channel grows and you start getting that Google AdSense money, and the super chats and all this kind of money, people end up at the end of the day, at the end of the time when they finally got to that end of the tax return, they owe. I said, don't listen to anyone on YouTube. Oh, you can write off everything and don't owe no taxes. Oh, you could don't follow that. Please don't follow that. That's ridiculous. That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard people say. You start a business, you can write off everything. No, you cannot. And let me tell you, we don't know what's going to come for this year, for next year, but I could tell you one thing. If this economy is what they say is happening, I already read somewhere in Georgia, they're not extending the advanced child tax credit. People was getting all that advanced child tax credit, and they're not going to extend that. They're not going to extend that. So that affects a lot of low income people who was, used to getting that money. A lot of people got their money in advance. And then when the tax season came around, they said, well, I don't understand why I'm getting this. I had a lot of people calling up about it, but it was enough people to say, when you got the advanced child tax credit, they already gave it to you in advance. Therefore, your refund is not going to be the same like it was in previous years. And all these credits and refundable credits people were getting in the past. Say la vie to that. No more. So, unfortunately, people were expecting a lot of those things. Now, one of the things I started noticing, and I was like, not the stereotype, but the people who had old taxes, they had capital gains, they made some real good money when they did their investments. A lot of people got into real estate doing, that's when you follow Schedule E. A lot of people got into real estate. The ones who I was looking through their numbers and stuff, and putting in their W-2s and the 1099Ks and all that investments, the 1099Bs. Man, these people were like six figures. They were like six figures. And at the end, they may owe a couple of $1,000. And then I said, well, you made money last year, capital gains. Now you tax at a lower rate with capital gains versus the regular tax. But a lot of people I spoke to, they sold property, they sold their primary house, they bought another house, and they made a lot of money. Now, basically, some people made $250,000 plus dollars on the sale of their house, or 300. It's a lot. That's tax. That's not tax. I said, no, you ain't paying taxes on that. But a lot of people did pretty good. And I started noticing a lot of people had started focusing on investments. They made money. They made a lot of money in investments. I think, I hate to say it, but a lot of white folks, Indian people, Asian people made killing in terms of making money. I was like, ooh. I spoke to one person. They said they had did the cryptocurrency, and they said they made like $20,000 and stuff. But see, they had invested maybe a few years back. I said, what? I said, man, I wish I had did that. And people made money a whole various different ways. So when I was learning and observing some of the things or strategies people were doing, I started saying, you know what? I'm gonna do it too. Now I already started doing a little investment in, a little bit of crypto and a little bit of Robinhood and things like that, but I wasn't putting in as much money in it like I should have. And I knew better. And when I started looking into some of the things that people were doing, I said, let me look and let me look and do that too. I opened up, and I'm gonna discuss this in a different video. I'm not gonna really. Is this what are you talking about? I'm looking at the family Facebook page. So anyway, I said, shoo. They started doing, and I'm not talking about buying properties and stuff like that because it's kind of hard. So I said, you know what, let me start doing some other things that I'm seeing people do, real estate investing. I did one, I invested. I said, you know what, rather than me saving all this money in this savings account, they ain't earning nothing but 0.001. I said, I'm going to build up my emergency fund, focus on paying down my debts, and I'm start taking some money monthly and investing. So I invested $500 on one of the investments I was doing. I'm gonna talk about it in a separate video altogether. And it was like $500 and then I had opened up an account with different asset classes. I looked on there last night. It was hold up. I did use this StreamYard to share, but let me see. Maybe I'll log on. Now, ain't that many people watching. What happened? 2 people? All right now. Y'all pay attention. Hold up. Let me see. You know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just talk about what I've been doing. So I don't buy physical properties, real estate properties, and things like that because finding houses and saying, oh, let me go in this, I just go in a different matter and try to build up slowly. So I open up an account with different asset classes. Part of it's real estate, part of it's different asset classes. It was like about a couple months ago. It was like $500, and then I checked it yesterday, and the thing is 600 and something dollars. I said, oh, now the rate of return on this particular account, it was like 8%. Now I said, dang. Now that's kind of low, but it was still 8%. And I started when I started doing, taking these calls in the chat and people calling on the phone, and I started, helping them with their return and answering questions. And it was like, I sold the real estate, I had this property, da da, and they start talking, and I was like, it was either two things: either people were self-employed, independent contractors, or they did some investments. And I noticed the discrepancy in terms of race. Now I know some of y'all be like, yeah, we can talk about black folks being making no money. It's true. The majority of black folks that would call up in there, they had no sense of no kind of investments or nothing. And the very few that I spoke with that had some investments, they spoke about it. It was like one lady, she was a travel nurse. She lived right here in Georgia too. And she said she bought a property for like $28,000, and I said, okay, well, you can file it on the Schedule E, blah blah blah, this that whatever. I was so dying to ask her, where did she buy this property? That was $28,000. But I didn't. I said no. Let me keep it. Let me not. And since she wasn't signed into her account, she was just asking general question. But she was a travel nurse, so she made decent. She made excellent money being a travel nurse. And then she says, well, my primary home in residence, So she had her own property. She had lived in her own house, lived in Georgia somewhere. But then she had a rental property elsewhere. Then I didn't even deep delve into all her other things, but I started noticing that there's two type of people in the world. Those who were just great, just like looking forward to getting earned income credit, child tax credit, low income, didn't make no money, trying to want this big refund. And then there are those who invest their money. Even if you start off small, even if you do Robinhood, like the ones I got Robinhood, and then I also got the Cash App where I do it, but I use those two platforms. It's like $200-$300, and I try, but one thing I learned is that if you're consistent, if you go and do Cash App and you do the investment like today, look at this. This thing went up 0.6% or 1.44 today, even though I started out with $150, or was it less? You remember the coldest. You said, that's all? It grew to $237.33. And that was when I had started doing $150. And I only do small amount of money at a time. I didn't put a whole lot of money. And then the other one, the Bitcoin, it was what, $29.64. That's just one of the apps, but that's not the main investments. These two little things I'm telling y'all, that was just a small amount. Then if I go on Robinhood, when I went and purchased on their platform, I started out Look at this. Today, all the apps went up today. The cryptocurrency, the ETC, that little bit of money I put in that. Agent, GoPro, Bank of America went down, but I still got dividends. The little bit of dividends I was getting every month, I was getting that. I signed up for QQQ. That went up. So everything went up. Now, the market has been shaky, let me tell you. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes down. Sometimes it goes up. But if you start off small and let it grow, especially if you're young, if you in your 20s and your 30s, even in your 40s, you start off really small, but be consistent. $25 a week, $50 a week. So when I do these other apps that I've been doing, and I just need to update my insurance, and I'll be back on Uber again. I'm not doing people. I'm gonna do Uber Eats. So once I get my insurance card and download it, then I'll be activated to do Uber again. But I'm only going to do food. I'm not doing people. I don't care. And I'm not doing it to think I'm going to make a lot of money on it. But I still do the other surveys and the other smaller apps. I'm just making that extra money and collecting these gift card points and all these little points that, I could convert it to PayPal or to cash. I'm just doing these little things to build up for my investments. That's how I'm doing. That's how I'm going to be doing it. And when I get so many points and so many dollars I make from these, scanning receipts, and it says, okay, this is, so far it's $25. At the end of the year, when I cash out all these little points and all these little apps that I've been doing for money, it's not gonna be thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, merchandise, I could make pretty good money on that. So that's how I'm planning on strategizing to focus on investing. So I will probably do a video once I figure out how to show y'all some of the things I've been doing. But this tax year season, I've seen a lot of money flow through. Now, they say, oh, we're going to be in a recession. Oh, we're going to be, even if the recession happens or whatever, it's always going to bounce back. We don't know what's going to happen. But if you look at the long term of investing, the long term of paying down debts, the long term is building up your savings account plan, and all of that's gonna balance out. I try not to keep looking at my accounts and keep changing it, and well, let me change this, let me change. You can't outsmart the market. You just have to keep being consistent and investing in something and understanding what it is that you're doing. That's the thing. If the market was to go down, if people say, oh my God, it's down 200, 300, 100 points, that ain't nothing. It's just, it balances out. And I said to myself, when I did one of these calculators with the investments that I've done, and they said, if you keep doing this at $200 a month at this rate and doing this, what you currently had, you will have $70,000, $80,000 in 10, 15 years. And I said, damn. Now I said to myself, if I had started this earlier, now I've started investing very early. I just don't tell y'all everything. I started investing very early, but then there was some things that I just simply was rushed to cash out. I said, oh no, this is going on. Even when I did it 6 years ago, when I did some investing. Hey, Sam Marks. And I was so quick to, oh no, I need my $500 something, and I was so quick to cash out because it was dropping. I should have kept that money parked. Ain't no telling what I would have had. So But I made tens of thousands of dollars when I look at my long-term investments that I've held. But some of them I wish I kept. But when I was in my 20s, even when I think about when I was in my 20s and back in the 80s, early 90s, they didn't have all this type of technology. They didn't have none of these things existed for people to really invest their money. They would always say, oh, put it in a CD, oh, put it in a savings account. But see, those bank accounts and stuff I had back in the day, they was paying high interest rates. Even when I kept that damn Capital One, it used to be ING Bank. They used to pay. I used to get some real good interest rates on that money, and I kept that account for years. I didn't even keep track of it. I just did it one time, $50 every 2 weeks, and I never checked my bank account. So this $50 was coming out was for 5 years. And when I finally said, "What the hell is this?" and I went there and looked at my account, man, that's how I was able to buy my house. I had over $30,000 saved up in that account. It used to be ING, and then Capital One bought them, and then that's when they only gave you point something crazy interest rate when it used to be 2-3%. Even though that might not be a whole lot, but I still was consistent. Also, many of us need to shut up and listen and learn something because we aren't as smart as we think. Now, I don't think people need to be quiet and listen. It's just you have to know, you have to. I'm gonna make this disclosure. I'm not a financial advisor, so you have to learn and do your own research. That's what I did. I looked at a lot of people YouTube videos and stuff, and some people I listened to, and some people I was like, y'all full of shit. Y'all telling people run and do an LLC, and they don't even understand why you need to be an LLC. Uh, oh, you say that from experience? All right, now y'all give me the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. But you have to, there's some people I've been listening to. Even though I haven't been making my videos during the tax season, there were a lot of people that I do listen to, and I take heed and take note. But one thing I don't do is I don't jump on the bandwagon with the next hot thing, especially with black folks. We want to get into stuff. Oh, I heard you get into doing options. Man, that's been so, when you start hearing it on YouTube, all across the board, some stuff is already too late. Oh, you could get into crypto, and it's too late. People get into things after the fact. When everybody else start hearing about it, usually that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And I don't do things I don't understand. When people say, "Oh, you did crypto, you could have been million," and what I probably, maybe not. But if I don't understand it, I'm not gonna put my money in something I don't understand. I'm gonna learn something about it, but I'm gonna do the basics. Mhm. Yeah, when everybody heard about the gold rush in California, everybody from all over the place, all over the world, ran up to California as a gold rush. By the time they got there, that well went dry. They don't tell you that part of the story. You know, they don't tell you that part of the story. That's for sure. But you have to speculate. Even when I worked in my 20s, when I worked on Wall Street, I was working for Shearson Lehman and these big companies and stuff. Those companies don't even exist. Those companies went down in the crash in the 90s when they was yep, workers, and built up San Francisco and did that, you know. And then with the economy that it is going now, people say, "Oh, it's going to be in a recession. Oh, don't do that." Oh, it's just going to be a whole new monetary system. This is going to be a whole new world of how banking works, money. How things work and evolve. But let me tell you, anytime there's a downturn in the economy, there's more millionaires and more people made during this time. We don't know how it's going to happen, but you just simply have to, don't overthink it. Just, one, pay down your debts, pay down your debts. Yep. And stay out of debt and pay, my only debts I have is this house, the student loans, and HOA fees. And I say, you know what? If I could knock those things, I don't have no credit card debt, nothing like that. I paid off parts of my student loans, but I still got more to go. But if after so many years of paying, it's okay, well, you're dismissed, whatever. My mortgage will be paid off in a year. It's at 2030. That's 8 years from now. But if I keep vigilantly putting down $100 more, or pay this SUV that I bought. Sometimes I wish I never bought that SUV, but of course the Toyota was have its last rah. I'm about to get rid of that car. The car ain't been, I took the insurance off that car. Somebody at the phone repair place who fixed my phone when I dropped the phone, he was like, I'm going to take a picture of the car and send it to him so he could come and look at it. So he wanted to buy it. But I know the car may be cosmetically look not appealing, but ain't nothing wrong with that car. I could break that car up in pieces, sell the car, Cadillac converter, sell the motor, sell the parts and break it up and get at least $2,000 for the dang car. But I don't need to. I'm not driving anymore. So at this point, if that person wants that car, I ain't talking about giving me no $200 either, because I'm not that foolish. I said I was busy. He said I came there because my phone couldn't turn on. It was black, even though it was powered on. You know what? I may do that, but he had to give me. They got to talk about some things, some numbers. And I was like, what the hell on my phone? I almost went and bought me $1,000 phone with T-Mobile, signed up for Mint Mobile, paying just $30 a month just to get another phone. And then they said, all you have to do is e-sign the documents and they'll ship your phone tomorrow. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna get it. I'm not trying to incur no more unnecessary expense. A 80 something dollar per month cell phone bill. So I said, nope. I said, that's unnecessary spending. I don't need to do that for now. Yeah, I mean, I probably could get $1,000 phone. I still didn't, you know what? I've been doing everybody else's taxes. I couldn't even find my last year's return to e-file my return, even though I'm getting a refund. That's a good thing. But I said, you know what? Why am I spend over $1,000 to get a phone and have $100 and something dollars per month cell phone bill when I'm supposed to be cutting expenses and saving money? So I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. And since TurboTax season ended, I'll get my check next week and the bonus check and stuff. But I did save my money to pay my bills, and then I'm working at Amazon. So for y'all want to know, I end up going back to Amazon after my medical accommodation was approved, but I'm still working the same 3 days. But I could sit down every 2 hours or whatever. And then I said, shoot. Well, I do have the phone for work. I use this phone when I do my gig work. But, I don't have a separate. Well, there ain't going to be no return on no investment with this phone. So me buying a new phone is not an asset, but I could use it to work for business for what I'm doing it for. So, but when you use a phone for both personal and business, you have to separate. Now, if I had a second line and it was strictly used for business, yeah. But I do, I still do the merchandising gig work. So I use that phone because I have to have that phone when I go and do my assignments. So part of the phone is business, but I also use that for personal. So unless I find me a real cheap personal phone to use, then I'll do that. But um that's about it. But it's not a whole lot of expenses for what I do. If I made 50,000 with this business, that's be something else. So, but one thing I learned this tax year is that I'm gonna be real serious about my business, and I'm gonna be focusing on one of my other coworkers live in New Jersey. She been having her own tax business, and a lot of my coworkers I've been talking to, a lot of them work at TurboTax. They have their own business. They have clients, and it's real busy, but they have their own business and bookkeeping business, and some people make a few $1,000s a month, and they work at TurboTax. So I was like, you know what? I said I'm sitting here doing nickel and diamond with people when I know I could probably just market myself, because a lot of people, as much as they try to do their own tax return this year, a lot of people like they just got flooded, and the reason why a lot of people went to do it themselves, because when they started going out looking for people to do their taxes, these people were charging $500-$600, if not more, $900. People were charging. The guy who supposed to cut my grass, this stupid ass, old man came in here, cut my grass, and he came in here. I was supposed to come on a Wednesday. He come Tuesday. I said, it's raining. It started raining. And then he half-ass did my yard. Half-ass did it. This ruined it. This ruined the tree that was supposed to be cut back. It was a whole bunch of nuts. A whole bunch of yeah, I'm going to step out on faith. But all this free advice and all this stuff, not doing it. I'm going to, so then, because I've been doing too much. That's the problem. I was working at Amazon. I was doing these little gig work jobs. I was working TurboTax, and I was doing so much. And then I'm learning how to code and learn. I was doing so. My mind was all over the place, all over the place. So with all this stuff that I see going on and the pattern going on with people, I'm gonna be more like my coworker. She said she's gonna take this course. She's gonna pay somebody some thousands of dollars to do offering compromise. I already knew what offering compromise is and the paperwork involved in that. These are people who they're gonna be a lot of issues with people tax returns, because the IRS has 10 years um, to come back and audit a return. And like I said, there's been so many people retired. They've been so behind. Well, thank you, Sam. I'll be back regularly, y'all. Go ahead and give me the thumbs ups. Much appreciated. I ain't gonna be here long anyway. I've been over here for an hour. I'm about to get off in a few, since nobody came on to the link to ask any questions. But yeah, one thing, like I said, let me summarize. One thing I learned from doing tax returns this year with TurboTax is that a lot of people, they're either focusing on investing, and they're doing more for their money, even though you have to pay taxes. You can't get rid of that. But the way the economy is, either you're going to be left behind and you're going to be struggling. Oh, go ahead. You ask the question. You can come on my link. Let me share the link. I wish y'all could come on my link sometimes. You ain't got to show your face. This economy, I'm telling y'all about to focus, focus on paying down debts and start small. But I will share some of my investments experience. Now, I'm not a tax advisor, so please don't follow what I do, because this is what I do as research. But I could tell you my experience. And I did pretty good on one of the companies that I did choose from. But all right, yeah. Go ahead, Sam. Ask the question. I'm waiting for your question. And then I'm gonna do a follow-up video about some of the gig work that I've seen people doing, DoorDash. I've seen a lot of people just running around with these door, making them. I mean, a lot of people made DoorDash and these food delivery apps as their main source of income, which is nothing wrong with that. How do I keep going when discouragement is all around you? I don't know. I guess I just keep myself busy and I just kind of ignore it because a lot of times when you hear these doom and gloom YouTubers, oh the economy, that I don't believe that. I don't believe it. What I know from experience, from the way how economies work, things go up and down, and things go. Some people are always going to have an advantage. You know, back in the '90s when they was about oh the economic collapse, all this going on, ain't nobody heard of no Elon Musk. I'm like, who is this Elon Musk? He came about. I wish someone do a thorough research documentary on Elon Musk. Like I heard about him a few years ago, but how he started, and I know his riches or billions or whatever. It was during an economic downturn, but it was during a time when things were going bad economically worldwide. That's how I started noticing. I said, "Shoot, Bezos or whatever, Elon Musk, all these people, they started off when it was like collapsing and things weren't looking as good. People took advantage of that. People took advantage of that. So I don't. Yeah, all of them saw that opportunity. Most billionaires, the people who really make money, you don't even have to look at the billionaires. Look at the ones who made a few $1 million. They they took advantage of when the economic thing was down. Just like when I purchased my home. I purchased my home at 117,000. Now this house, even if it's not even upgraded, it still got the old little 1990 something gold fixtures and stuff. Then people call me every goddamn day. This house is worth 240,000 plus dollars. If I was to sell this house, I would have made double my money without even upgrading. I was like, why in the world? And then people call me every day. He's still with the property of that, that, that. No, you're not gonna call me. You're not gonna give me some blow up. I said $1 million, and then they hang up. Or they be like, "Is that negotiable?" I was like, "Oh my god, this is so silly." I said, why would I want to? I know I made a great investment, even though it might be a little bit too much. I know I made a great investment. I was told when I 12, it's been 13 years. He said, "Oh, the house prays for 130." They said, "If you keep this, hold this house for 10, you hold this house for 10 years, um, it's gonna double it back." And this was the real estate agent told me that. And I knew that myself. I said, man, all I had to do is keep that 5,000, is keep this house for 5 years, because I got the $8,000 grant. When the economy was down, I got, I'm the queen of getting grants. I got $8,000 for the grant. I got almost $13,000 of tax credits when I bought some upgrade energy credit. I had, the stimulus. That $15,000 last year, 5,000 for living in low income, the other 10. See, it's not people. It wasn't no scam when people like, I don't got nothing. I ain't want to get into that because see, they was being coaxed by people who wanted to charge them 10, 15% of the $10,000 they would at least got. The guy who did my house, he could have cut the grass, and I asked him, "Who do your taxes?" Oh, he was an old man. This how you know ain't nobody listening. After I had to curse him out a week later when he trying to tell me he already cut the grass. I said, "You didn't cut this grass. I just cut this grass Sunday myself. You said you was gonna come back and finish cutting this grass, and he didn't do it." So I said, you know what? Here's your $80. Don't ever. That's why ain't nobody want to do your yard. I'll do it myself. I should have done it myself in the first place, paying y'all money and stuff. So he had someone else do his. He said he had this African guy do his taxes. He charged him $500-600 to do his. I had $500-600. What else is he doing for you during the year? Is he doing the bookkeeping? Is he keep track of your expenses? And no, he said he gonna call the county, and then he gonna get to do this. I said I already knew he was being ill-informed incorrectly. County, he lived right, this old man lived right in DeKalb County, in the other down the road from me, 30083, and he said he owed taxes. Even he pays this man $900 or $800, whatever crazy amount. I knew it was pretty high. Then he ended up owing taxes. Said, "Well, did he tell you about the estimated tax payments he's supposed to make and set you up and tell you what you have to pay for the state and the federal?" Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I said, "Well, what about the stimulus?" I asked about the stimulus. No, he wanted to charge me 10% of the $10,000 that he would have gotten. He wanted to charge him 10% of the money. I said, "You ain't had to pay no one to do that for him. If he did your tax return, he should already told you up front. Oh, the stimulus you qualify for because you made your income fell 30% from the previous year." He didn't say, "Nah, I didn't want to be bothered with that. I didn't want to mess with that, this and that or whatever." He wanted me to pay him. I was like, oh God. That old man made my head hurt in the backyard. He really did. And I said, you know what? And this is what I did for him. I offered this. I said, if you have your last year's returns, I could look at it, evaluate it, and see was it done correctly or did he miss. So he was like, okay, I'll bring it over and this and that. So then after it raining and stuff, I said, why he came over here in the rain? Yvette, if she's on here, I showed her the pictures, butchered that tree, butchered that tree that I told him to cut back, and it was a mess. So then you would come Tuesday, you supposed to come the next day, talk about it's gonna rain, and then you come and it started raining. I said, okay, come back when it started raining, and then you just ruined my grass. I mean, just because I didn't cut it, I could have done a better job than he did. But he didn't take advantage of that. He came by, cut my grass, did whatever. Didn't cut the front. I said, no, I cut this yesterday. How you say you cut it? I still see the same weeds in the section. So I ain't gonna argue with you. That little $80, I'm not gonna cry over that. I could make that money in a day. God has blessed me to have a substantial amount of savings and blessed me to be able to work a job. I don't have to sit up there and try to con nobody to make more money, and you drive around that raggedy truck, and then he come up there. I'm looking out the window. I said, what the hell? He keep, choking the weed eater. The thing couldn't even start. He had inadequate equipment, substandard equipment. What? Oh, okay, Cole, you back. It was a hot mess. I'm looking at the window. When is he gonna start cutting this grass? And then left a big old, it was a mess, y'all. Just a hot mess. Then you gonna come back. Charlie, what? Somebody, who Who out there outside? Like, Charlie came in the house because I had the door open in the front. And I hear another cat meowing. Charlie come in the house. Charlie, lay down and sleep. Go down. What? Somebody in his territory. That's why he came up here crying because the door is open. He had to close the door. So then, hold up, y'all. I'll be back. Let me close this door. So, get back. Because whatever it is, make me cry. Charlie, get back. Dude. Charlie, stop. All right, y'all, I'm back. So the old man who came to do my yard, when I start asking him about who does his taxes, da da da, he telling me he got some African guy he didn't like, charge him $900, and I start asking him about, did you get the stimulus, which was the grant? No, I don't want to be bothered with that. He wanted to charge me 10% of the money. Basically holding him hostage. And all it took was one simple form that he would just filled out. They didn't require him to charge that man a 10% of the money for the grant. He lived in Stone Mountain too, and his zip code was 30083. So he was already in a suppressed low income area anyway, just like I live in a Stone Mountain is considered low income, and I got the extra $5,000. So he missed out on $15,000 grant, not PPP loan, nothing. And then I said, well, it's too late now because I don't know if someone was doing your taxes for all this time who didn't inform you that you were entitled to get it. I started noticing when talking to people how Dave said, I went to this person that did my taxes last year. They want to do it themselves. I'm just start having general talking with them. And, and I said, well, did you get the PPP loan, which I didn't recommend? What about the grant? They never apply. Millions of people, I started noticing they were eligible for that grant. And especially the ones who said they started doing Uber, the gig work 2009, even if they did 2000, they had qualified. All it took was very simple. that little $10,000, it was a grant. It didn't take a whole lot to do. All you had to do was file your return, Schedule C, report it. A lot of people who are doing this gig work qualified to get it. Some people didn't get it. Some people may not tell people they got it because they didn't want to say nothing on YouTube or whatever. It didn't make no difference to me. If I know I did it legitimately and I showed y'all how to do it, I even did a video live streaming showing you the map, showing how to work, how the process work, the whole 9 yards. Even when I did it, I got the grant. They was calling me, oh, you want to get the PPP loan? No, I don't need no PPP loan. No. Because the catch was, if people got the PPP loan, these companies or whatever got like they get some kind of fee or some sort or whatever. Not the fee that you charge people. People are doing that. But you had to indicate that you paid someone a fee to help you fill that application out. You paid them a fee. But he just didn't want to be bothered. I said, you owe taxes like that and no one told you how to blah, 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 whatever. I said, what about this equipment? Did you depreciate on the equipment that you purchased? You own a lawn care business. You got a truck, some raggedy lawnmower, and a whole raggedy equipment. Ain't depreciated nothing. What, Charlie? Get off my bike. Get. People know what I was talking about. Even if you don't know how to calculate depreciation, one of the things somebody would have asked you, they would have asked you about it. Do you have the receipts for the equipment that you purchased for your lawn care business? If he was doing it for years or a few years, that would have been something that would have brought up in a conversation. So I was like, all right, whatever. The dental hygienist, when I go to the dentist, she works as an independent contractor when she works at other dental office on the weekends, plus the dental office she works at. She was like, I asked her, what do you want to do in taxes this year? I'm trying to solicit a business, No, I go to this girl, she do my return and I said, okay, is she a CPA? No, she just do tax on the side. A couple weeks ago, I went to the dentist. Oh, I bought a house. I said, oh, you really did? She showed me a picture. It was in Conyers, a townhome. Not a townhome, a single family home. I said, oh, this is nice. She bought the home and then she tells me it already went down in value. She said she overpaid on the house. And something, I don't know what she was doing. And she said, yeah, this girl, she did my tears for a few years. I said, then I started asking her questions. Because she had she's had this, she makes like 90,000 plus a year being an independent contractor. And I told her about, okay, remember, you must make sure you pay your estimated tax quarterly payments. She knew nothing about that. I said, did she do a depreciation on these equipment? It was no cheap equipment. No, she didn't tell me about that. What about the miles that you have to drive when you went to the different dental office to do 1099 work? Nothing. She ain't did nothing. I just asked a real basic question. Because as a dental hygienist, sometimes you have to buy your own equipment. Some dental offices don't use the equipment, but if they buy the equipment on their own, you get to write it off. She ain't did none of that. Then she was like, I said, okay. I said, I bet you if I look at that return, I could tell you 10 things pointed out and what was wrong. So I said I'll do it. I evaluate it for you for free. And then if I find something that's not been done, she need to file a 1040X. She was supposed to come to my house almost 3 weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks now. Yeah. She was supposed to come to my house 3 weeks ago because the dental office is up the street. And it'll be on her way home. Can you go and look at it for me? Look at my return. And she never did it. So when I go to the dentist in a couple of months in the summer, I already know what's going to happen. I don't know why I owed all this money and blah, blah, blah. I think I'm going to let you do my return. That's what she said. I think I'll let you do my return next year. She never came by. Somehow or another, she let this so-called friend who'd been doing the tax return for years, must have told her something. And said, you know what? That's gonna be an error. I already knew. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna let people do what they need to do. A lot of times, people just don't know what they get themselves involved with when they get other people to do it. I would have felt real comfortable if someone told me, oh, yes, I went to this person, they're a CPA, and I know that that's all they do. But when people, they just don't know. Because you have to have the information to give the person to do your return. And I said, if they did not ask you one time, do you have the receipts for the equipment that you bought? When did you buy it? If they didn't ask no questions like that, ain't no way. So, I don't know. I think if I start making some guides or something basic, and just start advertising and giving it to people, not for free, but maybe I charge $5-10 once I figure out how to use this designer and start doing some things that people could look at and reference. I know I'm chewing, I'm eating some crackers, but I don't know. I just noticed a big difference between people. And I'm not saying you have to be an expert, but a lot of people get into things buying properties and houses, and they get themselves overwhelmed. And if it gets to the point where you start having large investments, having 5-10 rental properties, that's where you need to start looking for someone who's going to help you throughout the year, not at the end of the year. January, February come, you got your files and paperwork, and don't even understand. So most people that I know this year who made some good money, even if they call TurboTax and they say they need a little help, and on forms and things like that. And one thing for sure is that they know the basics. They know they may do it themselves because, some people, they just do it themselves. Or they'll hire someone to do it for them. But when you start getting into these large investments and large things, one thing one thing I don't do or anyone at TurboTax is we don't suggest financial planning because that's not what the area we at. We have to refer people that says, well, I will consult with a financial planner and they can help you with tax strategies. When you get to a point where it's not about filing a tax return, getting that little bit of money for refund, what are you going to do with that refund? You need to start investing. Now, we don't recommend any particular company or any particular um, type of investments, but I could surely tell you some of the tax strategies that one could implement, especially when it comes to retiring. So that's one of the things I'm going to be focusing on in my series, using my own personal experience and my own ways of investing because I'll be 54 this year, and I don't have that many years to invest. You know, at 65, you know, that's what 11 years. 11 years at 65. And then whatever Social Security is, you add another few years for that. I'm not trying to be broke, live poor. I may not have a millions and millions of dollars saved up, but do I really need to be millions and millions and millions of dollars? Especially when I don't have no money. I don't have no one to pass it on. I don't have children to pass it on. But I have to be able to support myself. And one thing is, I don't want to get to an age of 65 walking at Walmart, still struggling in debt, you know, doing the van life, not because I want to do the van life. It's because, to be honest, I think a lot of the people who are doing the van life, a lot of them who's in the van, they not doing it because they're trying to cut down and do adventures. And I think they doing it because they can't afford to live in a house. They can't afford to buy a home. They can't afford to live in an apartment in whatever city they lived in. I think a lot of people in the van life is that they really were struggling financially, regardless of what the age is. Younger people, middle-aged people, older people. A lot of people went because you could tell by the type of van they have. So I said, I got a 1980 something, whatever, and they just didn't have the means for housing, affordable housing. They didn't buy a house. If they bought a house, they couldn't afford to keep up with the house. So therefore, they downsized. Didn't have no money for investments. Because to be honest with you, I'm not trying to stay in this house when I'm turned 60. Before I turn 60, Teresa will be moving back to South Carolina and downsizing and then have this house as an investment. But when I turn a certain age of 65 and pay down these debts and build up my emergency funds and build up my retirement plans and investments, it may not be. I mean, I'm because really $1 million. Even if I was to achieve $1 million of investments and savings and everything else, that $1 million is not going to take me into my golden years, I guess you could say. Even if I live to be 80 something, that ain't a lot of money to keep myself be retired on. Now, if I had two, three, $4 million and 5 million, yeah, that might be comfortable. But that's why it's important that I make my plan now and go from there. But if you're a young person, I'm gonna make this last point and that's it. If you're a young person, and you know who I'm talking about, a couple of y'all I spoke to on the phone, I said, they be so worried about buying a house. I want to buy a house. I said, don't worry about buying no house. Not this time. Not in this type of market. I said, you're not going to be approved for no house. Don't let these people tell you, oh, you get a house at a credit score of 549, 600. No, no, do not do it. Don't focus on buying a house because a house is a liability. Until the house turns into an asset, until I flip this house and start renting it and start getting rental income, then it's a cash flow for me. But because it's not changed over to a rental, because one, I have to have a place to live. Two, I need to do a lot of upgrades before I start going to the rental aspect. But if I turn this into a rental property, I have a lot of things I need to do. Even finding contractors to upgrade this house and do a little bit of improvements. I'm not trying to, I'm going to try to learn to do something by myself, little things to upgrade and do that. But I'm not trying to spend a whole lot of money. I'm not trying to take out no second mortgage and just to do the upgrades. I'm going to do piece by piece, piece by piece, and try to learn to do. I've been looking at videos on how to do this, but I was so nervous and said, well, dang, do I really want to do that? And, I just can't make up my mind. And I'm just all over the place because I'm so preoccupied learning this and that and whatever. But I hear a lot of people, I want to buy a house. They younger people work at Amazon. I said, nope. You better worry about staying at home with your parents and help pay their bills and come up with at least 20% of the down payment, even though the housing and prices is going up, 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 up. Don't focus on we want to buy a house. Well, I ain't gonna be a big house. I could buy a townhome. Don't focus about buying anything because the cost of upkeep, even if it's a brand new home, there's a lot of things you pay, you know. And the way this market is now, I would wait, I would really wait. But prices are always going to go up. Prices are always going to, people say, oh, the price market is going to be warm. Trust me, these millionaires, billionaires that been spruced up or came out when a downturn. Now, I don't know what type of, nothing's guaranteed, but I would just be real cautious and wait, but focus on trying to pay down debts and invest. I don't care what kind of investment it is, cryptocurrency, real estate, different asset, NFTs. You must understand what you're doing. I don't say I know everything about investing, but I don't invest in something I don't understand. And I don't follow no trend of, oh, this is the hottest thing. Because anytime you see a whole bunch of black folks talking about something hot, it's usually too late. And I'm like, mm-mm. And then you want to sell you a master class. That's another thing I don't do. I'm not going to pay you some master class program class to learn about something. And you can't tell me nothing else. You got to be careful. There's a lot of scammers and people on YouTube that talk a bunch of nonsense. A whole bunch of nonsense. And it ain't just black folks pitching nonsense. Everybody. But anyway, so it's down to one person. And I will talk to y'all later. All right, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? All right, tomorrow's Tuesday, so I got 2 more days to be free till I go back Thursday night at Amazon. But other than that, see y'all later. And thank you for joining me. I'll be back more regularly now. See y'all. Bye.